right, poet, we're live.
Oh man, Rich, we
Obviously,
live,
you'll
baby.
edit this part, but go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so look, man, the appreciation that I have, and I do mean that in the endeavor to add value to, in that sense of appreciation, for what you've done in contribution. I just remember and reflect on conversations that we had in your coaching, and even in your presence, you have so much abundance and your treasure trove of wealth and insights and wisdom as it relates to applying it to business, entrepreneurship, and just life overall. We come from two different worlds. However, we're so synonymous. I was able to resonate with you, like sympathetic resonance. So
Hmm.
when I'm asking you these questions, it may seem like Prince said, man, hey, I was dreaming when I wrote this.
Hmm.
So, said, forgive me if it goes astray, right? So
Yep.
when I get some feedback from you, it's going to be amazing to hear exactly what your vision is, how you got here, and as you reverse engineer the future, as you're a time traveler, how all of this applies right now to you, your impact, and the future of everybody you want to. Now, I got a few questions. I'm going to start off with this one. If
Okay.
you want to start comparing what you did in 2006, you're the guru's guru. You came up with
Hmm.
the Internet Business Manifesto. Now you have the AI Business Manifesto. If you were to break it down to a single biggest fundamental shift in how wealth is built today, considering the both of the fundamental principles that are about business, entrepreneurship. If there was a single biggest, I know it's a stack and it's layered, but
Hmm.
if there was one, what would it be?
Um, okay, I'm thinking about your question.
Yes.
And I would say that, yeah, I would say that everything I did from 2006 to 2008, the seven reports I wrote back then, um, while they all had different topics, the Internet Business Manifesto, et cetera, they all revolved around the attention of the entrepreneur at the end of the day. And I can explain what I mean by that in a second.
Please, yes.
Um, and so even though the topics weren't, I, even though not all of the topics were centered around attention, they really kind of were. And I'll explain what I mean.
Okay.
So that was back then. And I would say that it hasn't, it's not radically different today. Um, there's just, so it's still attention,
Hmm.
but it's attention backed up by judgment. And so now let me kind of unpack it all.
Okay.
So I wrote, my first report that I wrote was the Internet Business Manifesto, and I had no idea, right, that it would be so well received. I was hoping I'd get like a dozen clients, and I got a lot more than that. But it was all about the shift that I had seen in every industry like that has ever existed that at some point it goes from a hustle
Hmm.
like to a business and in general there's a lot less businesses at the end of the day than there were hustlers,
For
and
sure.
so the hustlers that kind of make their move into being business builders first generally are the ones that survive and thrive. And so the Internet Business Manifesto was, kind of distinguished between opportunity seekers and strategic entrepreneurs. But that was really about like, where are people placing their attention? Like the opportunity seeker is placing their attention on the next hot opportunity that's going to be found out there somewhere. And the strategic entrepreneur recognizes that there is no hot opportunity out there, that the best opportunity is to do a regular business in a non-regular way, um, to do it better than everyone else. Not like there's not great ideas like hiding under rocks out there that you turn over a rock and you find a great business. It doesn't work that way.
Ooh, look what I
And like,
found.
but the way that's how they're sold and marketed.
Yes.
And I grew up. I mean, I didn't have a great childhood, but I was raised by an entrepreneur. And so, like, I understood business very well. Like, my dad was an entrepreneur, his friends were entrepreneurs. Like, I was around business my whole life, and I found that most people weren't. And so what they knew about a business was kind of like what they read in sales letters.
Mm.
And that really wasn't how business works. So the Internet Business Manifesto was about placing your attention on the right things, and by doing so, you could become successful by being a strategic entrepreneur. So it was about being a strategic entrepreneur. It wasn't about attention, but where you placed your attention was what determined it.
Mhm.
And when I then asked people like 2 weeks later, 11 days later, I think, well, I asked people a week later, and I wrote the report 11 days after the first one. I asked people why they still wouldn't be successful, and they gave me a lot of reasons, but all their reasons kind of stemmed around one thing, which was that they were in the wrong niche for themselves. And so I quickly wrote a follow up called The Missing Chapter, which was like most of the people's problems, at least the reasons that they were giving me, was that they don't recognize how important what business you should be in
Mm.
is.
Mhm. Mhm.
That, the Gary Halpert saying, like, find a starving crowd, right, is interesting for a hustle and interesting for an opportunity. It's not
Mhm.
necessarily interesting as a long term business
Mhm.
relationship. Just
Yes.
like you wouldn't, the recipe for getting married is not find the most desperate person in the world and
Right.
propose, because like you wouldn't want to be married to someone like that.
That's
You
right.
wouldn't want to be in a business where you spend the majority of your life just like sorting by who's most desperate out there. Like
Right.
that seems like a very not good idea. Most
No.
marriages end in divorce, most businesses end in bankruptcy, and this certainly seems to be like a way to go in that direction.
Right.
So you
Right.
shouldn't choose that way. So that was what that was about.
Right.
But that was just a follow up. Then I wrote the final chapter, which was just all about partnerships and understanding of networks and affiliates, and why, like in Europe, they have very small direct response lists, and here in the United States, they're very large because of companies selling lists and merging and stuff like that. And that was all about Agora. But then the next two reports I wrote were the attention age doctrine 1 and 2, and that's what like Gary Vaynerchuk came across the attention age doctrine too, and he was like, "Oh my God, there's someone else on the planet that's thinking the way I am." So that's how like Gary and I became friends, because like
Yeah.
it's very easy now in 2026 to be like, "Oh yeah, attention is scarce," but when I wrote it in 2007, like social media wasn't here. Infinity
Right.
scrolling wasn't here. The endless scroll was not here. Like none of these
Right.
things were here. YouTube
Right.
just started
Right.
the year before. Like, there weren't all these things that are now here. That's like, of course,
Yeah.
attention is scarce. So when I was saying it back in 2006 and 7 and 8, like it was a kind of something new to people.
It's a big deal. Right.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I wrote the Maven Manifesto, which was all about that people are going to look for authorities because there's too many options in all these fields.
Yes.
And that's what I co-wrote with Jay. Then I wrote the Entrepreneurial Emergency, which was about theory of constraints, which is also like what problems are you going to put your attention on?
Yes.
And so that's kind of like, that whole era or decade or whatever. We
Right.
went
Right.
from like
Right. Right.
the information age, right, to the attention age. But I think we're moving into a new age now. And this new age is we're just at the beginning of. But I think anyone that's using AI will be able to kind of identify with this. And that is that the ability for AI to create as much output as it can.
Mhm.
Um, this is a this is a I want to share. I'm going to share something because I'd rather walk people through it
Okay. Okay.
than actually just. And it's just a single page from my notes.
Okay. Let me see.
So
Ooh, see,
where
this is
is
that.
it? All right, here's the
What I'm talking about,
screenshot.
man.
All right, wait. That's is this
Gotta
it?
know. If you
Okay,
know,
this
you
is it.
know.
All right. So, oh, I wonder why I take. Oh, because I'm on a different. There we go. All right, so here we go. Here, let me
Okay.
share. All right. All right. You see it?
Yep.
All right. I don't see you, so hold on a second. They Zoom always moves all the windows whenever I share. All right. There we go. All
Okay.
right. So, okay. The judgment age. And this is where I think we're headed right now. The
Okay.
judgment age is not merely a period in which intelligence becomes abundant while judgment remains scarce. That describes the outcome but misses the mechanism. So, okay, so let's put that on pause for a second. So,
Yeah.
a book came out back in like 2017. I think it was three professors from the University of Toronto. They wrote a book called Prediction Machines, and it was all about, they were three economists. What happens when AI
Mm-hmm.
makes things that used to be scarce abundant, right? Like intelligence, and what's going to raise in value. And they thought what would raise in value were a couple things: data, execution, and judgment. And I think one other thing: data,
Mm-hmm.
judgment, execution. No, that's it. Okay, so there are four things. There's intelligence, right?
Yes.
Intelligence is now a commodity, right? Because like it might not, it's cheap right now. Maybe it'll be expensive later, but everybody can
Right.
buy it at a price. So it's a commodity.
Right. That's right. That's
They
right.
thought data was going to be the most valuable thing, and certain data is very valuable. But when I
Yeah.
was presenting back on AI in 2017, like I
Mm-hmm.
have slides talking about how data is the new oil, but data is not the new oil because like synthetic data has patched a lot of the needs that were necessary for AI. So while data is very valuable, don't get me wrong,
Yes.
it's not like the last bastion like people thought it was going to be.
I'm
And
with you.
then there's execution,
I'm getting you.
but they
Yes.
didn't realize that agents were going to be executors. So execution is now a
Right.
commodity,
Right. Right.
right? So execution's a commodity, intelligence is a commodity, um, and Uh, data's more or less a commodity for the most part. So the only thing that's
Right.
left
Right.
is discernment or judgment. And so they were partially right. Like they thought that judgment, data, and
And
execution would be valuable,
yes.
but
Yes.
AI got rid of two of the other
I'd say
ones too.
at the time
Yeah.
before the
No, they
development
were
of
they were
AI.
they were ahead of it,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
here's like so to go back to these notes now. The deeper
Yep.
change is a bottleneck inversion. AI increases the amount of work that can be attempted, which is obvious, right? AI can
Yes.
certainly increase the amount of work that can be attempted.
Right. In
That
order to
work
work. Mm-hmm.
creates more decisions,
Yep.
more exceptions, more
Yep.
trade offs, more branching paths, and more consequences. Human
Right.
attention cannot expand at the same rate that AI output expands at. So,
Right.
as models and agents work longer without supervision, they must have some form of judgment carrying them, not just
Yep.
instructions, because you can't give instructions like, you know, you can't give turn by turn instructions to drive from my house here in Florida to California. It's too complicated. It's too many turns. And once you miss one turn, everything
Right.
else is wrong, right?
Right. Too many
So,
variables. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
so when models' competence and harnesses converge,
Yes.
the only competitive advantage left is going to be whose AI can run longer, faster, harder. That's going to be based on who has better judgment directing them.
Yep.
So, the revised definition: the judgment age begins when machine intelligence becomes abundant, autonomous, and persistent enough that the volume and speed of possible action, right, the ability for AI to take action,
Yes.
is more than human attention. The
Yes.
bottleneck is no longer whether AI can perform the work.
Right.
It is whether AI can recognize what matters or whether you can
Yep.
recognize what matters and supervise it, right? Choose
Right.
among plausible paths, apply the right trade offs, and know when
Right.
to stop or escalate. As
Okay.
access to models, competence, and agentic infrastructure converges, judgment becomes the last non commoditized layer of a competitive advantage. So here's the causal chain, and this is what, just to like tie this up.
Okay.
More intelligence creates more possible action. More
Yes.
action creates more consequential decisions. More
Yes.
decisions require more judgment.
Facts.
Human attention cannot supply it all personally.
Yeah.
Therefore, judgment must become transferable if you're going to thrive. And that's the bottom line. So that's the judgment age. And
Mhm.
below judgment is attention, right? Because you can
Yeah.
only, you first have
Right.
to attend before
That's
you can ever judge, right?
yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
can't
It's
judge
like
something
awareness builds its own momentum.
unless it has your attention,
Yes.
right? So I
Yes.
would say that while in one hand everything's different, on the other hand everything's the same, right? It's just how it's playing out today is different. That like before the name of the game was getting attention, and it still is, right? And getting the biggest payoff from your attention, and that still is.
Hmm.
But where you put your attention today is different than where you put your attention before.
Hmm.
Now you're putting like my advice to people is put your attention towards your AI capturing your judgment, your feedback, your perspective, because that is what is going to power your AI to be able to perform on your behalf later.
Mm. You mentioned one thing, right? That's so dope, me. Actually, it was real hard not to interrupt you and ask questions about what you were saying. I got to let you flow, man. But because it's so many layers to it, and again, a master at work, you watch them in the flow, and there's so many different things and perspectives that you're able to ascertain and discern when you're listening. But I'm going to say this, right? It's like you giving it. It has to have because it's getting information. AI that I'm talking
Mhm.
about. It's receiving information from everywhere, from everybody in every perspective, and you've addressed this many a time, right? Whose judgment is your AI going to be using? If it's not yours and it has the world's information, you have to be able to have something to be able to reel it in. So I resonate with everything you're saying. It's making all the sense in the world. So now, with that, now
Mhm.
things don't change yet; they remain the same and all of that, right? Same picture, different frame type of
Yeah.
deal. But it's been accelerated. Now, so then most entrepreneurs fail where then when it comes to AI? Do they lack the active imagination to see how to apply it? Or like do they fail to command the tool with actual intelligence, right? To know when to step in. Right, like the hokey pokey, right? You gotta know when to
Right.
put the right foot in left. But yeah, how do you see that? How does that play out in having an internal scope on it from each different niche? So that's what I want to say too in this question. I can weave this in as well. Because you are the creator and the ideal mind that gave birth to strategic profits. I remember, man, when you dropped that, I was like, okay, this is dope. The whole idea is strategic profits
Mhm.
because you were able to extract everything that was cut bleeding edge in each niche based upon what was tailor made for who did it the best in that particular angle and perspective, and see how it could be applied cross contextually where they may be able to apply it, like what Jay Abraham teaches in the Mastermind Marketing. It's so
Mhm.
funny about that. Just to say this, I still have those CDs. I got that from Nightingale Conant, right?
Ah,
And
yeah.
I still have those CDs in my car
Mhm.
right now. I had that's so crazy about how things,
Yeah.
energy, frequency, and vibration. You know what I mean? That's what
Yeah.
I mean. We can't make this stuff up, bro. So, okay. That being the case, where do most entrepreneurs fail then? So, having all of your experience, where do they fail? Is it because they can't see it, or is it because they're not applying it the right way? What would you say?
Um, let's see. I think there's a bunch of things. I think I'm just trying to like I've certainly interacted with a lot of people that do a lot of things wrong. There's no question about it. But I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to give you an answer that is kind of underneath that, like that's below the surface. I think that
Hmm.
I think that most people, first of all, I don't know if they're intimidated by it or what, but
Mm. Mm.
because like my experience with it was, I used it to help me at a particular time. I put more information in than I remembered. And then months later, when I asked a deeper question, I was blown away by the output. And then because I was blown away by the output, that's what had me dive in extremely
Right.
deep.
Right.
And so whereas like most people, I don't know, they don't have that same kind of like leaning in, and I don't know why. And that's interesting, right? Because like
Yeah,
this
it
is a
is.
tool that, maybe it's this, I
Hmm.
think. So, and I feel like I can give a longer answer because we can always edit it down and I can find my way
Man,
towards it.
this is
Yeah.
where the gold is. This is
The
what you know what I mean?
I think that the I think that most people, I'm trying to think about this. Like when I think that like I'm trying to compare myself to other people who maybe not, right? Like so
Right.
I
Why did you
I
first
feel
say
what? No,
the
go ahead.
immediate thing you went to was I don't know if they're intimidated. That was like your
Well,
knee
because
jerk.
I don't understand why people just don't ask AI. Like I ask AI 100 things a day, right? Like
Yeah,
so when people
yeah,
ask me a question, I'm always wondering like why wouldn't you just ask your AI that?
right.
Like when you're asking me about your AI, like I know more than your AI knows about its particular like what you're doing.
You know what though? You know what though, Rich? Check this out though, man. That to me, it triggers in my mind and connects to why don't people read books? Like you're a book reader,
Yeah, but
you're a
that's different.
voracious reader.
That's different because
Why
like
you
reading
think? Why
books,
you think
well,
so?
because reading books takes effort, right?
Yes, yes.
Having a question and going somewhere else to ask that question to only go back to the place that like you were like is more work. So it's not
I get you.
like
I
ask
get you.
like
I
so
get you.
it's different. But I okay.
Okay.
So there's a
What would
Jay
they be
Abraham.
afraid of? What
Jay
would they
no no
go,
Jay
go, go, go.
Abraham works all the time. All right,
Yes.
all the time. He's a workhorse
All the time, right?
all the time. I don't. I don't work a lot. Like you know, um, Jay because he works all the time
Yes.
has no understanding of how someone could ever buy a course and not consume it, ravage it, like
Yes.
extract every single thing from it. But how many
Yes.
courses has Jay bought? I am more flawed than most people in our market. I've bought tons of courses that I didn't ever
Yes.
use,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I buy shit now like for biohacking that I'm super excited. Like this is gonna help
Right.
me sleep through the night. I can't wait to get it. I'm
I
watching
get
FedEx and then it finally gets delivered and there's instructions and everything. I'm just like, oh shit, I don't even want to deal with this. Right? Like, but like while the whole time, like, so I get it, right?
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like because so when Jay is like, I don't understand these people, I'm like, I totally understand these people.
Yes.
I'm one of these people, and I like
Yes.
there's a way to
You're
get
right.
people to
Those are
get
my people.
yeah, there's a way to get the outcome. They didn't buy with the intention of not using it, like
Absolutely not. That's right. That's
and
right.
so I constantly feel like, and maybe this is part of it, right? Like
Okay.
I don't think this is it. Like I'm going down a weird angle here, but
No, no, that's not
just
weird at all. That's
follow,
what it
just
is.
yeah, just
It's the
follow
answer.
me
Yeah,
down
yeah,
this
it's
path.
the answer. Absolutely.
Like I'm in love with this idea of the judgment age. Just like I was in love with the idea of the attention age, right? Like, it's very similar, like, the draw for it for me. And I'm, but I'm in love with it. Like, really. Like, I want to take it out on a date
Yeah.
and do nasty things to it.
Right. Smack it
But,
up, flip it, rub it down.
yeah, but I also don't feel, I'm insecure. I it's a big idea. I think it's like I'm saying this is where the world is headed.
Yeah, no, for real.
I don't know if
I
I'm
get you.
big enough to carry that message. Like I'm not like, this isn't me asking you to like comment on it, right? I'm just giving you
I
like
get you.
my
I
thinking
get you.
process.
Yes,
And
yes.
like, and so I'm going to need help. And, and so like, I see AI as very instrumental in that. And I want as much help as I can possibly get. And I recognize that I'm somewhat flawed to begin with. And so even more help. And so part of it is I'm very clear that, like, it's interesting. I have a very well developed ego in one area, like my certainty about I'm right and this is the future. And that ego and that certainty and that confidence strongly wants to get that message out there. But I'm very insecure about my own abilities. Like, who am I to bring that big of an idea to the world and say, like, this is the future when I don't know? There's a million people who know AI better than me. There's a million people who know how to code better than me. There's a million people who, right? Like, so it sets up this continuous insecurity that makes it so that I almost need a safety blanket. I almost need that partner, right, to back me up, like, who can, like, am I right on this? Like, can you search the world real quick and tell me, like, if I'm thinking correctly, right? Like, and so it has me lean into it a lot more because
Right.
I feel really good about the areas that I'm strong and I feel really weak in the areas that I'm weak. And so
Yeah.
it like makes me very receptive
Yes.
to having a partner.
Yes.
And I'm also, I would say, like, just I'm an inherently lonely person because I'm an introvert. I'm intense. I am not like, I want people around, but I don't really want to engage with them. I like, so I like, and if they're
I
not
care,
around,
but
I'm
not that
lonely. And
much.
it's like, so, so I lean into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I lean into it and most people don't. And
Yep.
I think
Yep.
there's that. I think that I'm a logical, so I'm an analytical, logical thinker because like my background's accounting. And so I think sequentially and I think AI thinks sequentially, but I
Yes.
think it's also a willingness to play with it like a lot, um, to consume a lot, to have a lot of deep conversations.
Hmm.
I don't talk about this publicly very much. Not that I try and hide it because I don't.
Hmm.
Sometimes I smoke pot, sometimes I don't. It's like on or off.
Right.
And
Right.
but when I am, I generally will spend all day here in my office working, not smoking.
Right. Right.
Like like sober as like, straight edge. And but then at night, when I'm done, and I'm intense, so I need to kind of like wind down, and I'm
Yeah.
going to do something. I mean, you know, go
Yeah.
for a walk, do something,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes I just sit downstairs and I get stoned. And when I'm
Yeah.
getting stoned, I then talk to AI and I brainstorm, and I'm talking about very different shit than what I'm talking
Yeah.
about during the day.
Yes.
So I think most people are not as clear about what they're good at and what they're weak at, and so it's not as clear like where this thing can
Yeah.
really help me a lot. I'm like very clear that there's lots of areas where I need a lot of help. So like right out of the
Yes.
gate, it's like, oh, can you help me? Perfect, right? So that's one.
Yeah.
Two, I think they get lost in the minutia of shit, and they're not clear how shit works.
Yeah.
If anything, actually, this is interesting. So he's asking me, why do people not get the results in AI, right? And I was just saying that to Harry, and
Yeah. What up, Harry?
and and I think
What up,
that like
though?
I taught this course back in 2008 on theory of constraints,
Yes.
and I asked people to map out the business when it was finished. Like,
Okay.
okay, you say you want, this is 2008, right? You
Okay.
say you want a business that publishes ebooks and does X, Y, and Z, and you
Yes.
want to make $2 million a year. Okay,
Okay.
great. What is everything that that business needs that if you had it right now, the business would be making $2 million a year? What are the
Yes,
things?
sir.
Like, what are all the things? Like, if you had that, and you had that, and you had that, and you had that, and you had that,
Yes.
the business would be a $2 million business.
There you
And
go.
most people can't answer that. And I was shocked. Like, I was like, that's step one. It's just like, okay. And
Exactly.
everyone's like looking at me like, well, what? And I'm like, you're building a business and you don't even know what needs to be in it, like every piece.
Yes.
How could you ever build a business then if you don't know the pieces? Right. So
Yes.
and it comes back to what I was saying earlier. Like I grew up, Harry did too. Like Harry grew up in an entrepreneurial household. I grew up in an entrepreneurial household. I
Yeah.
know how business works. Like I was around it since I'm like a 2-year-old, right? Like most people aren't. Their parents weren't entrepreneurs. So
Exactly.
they know about
Exactly.
business. They read in a sales letter. And in a sales letter, it never talks about like all the elements of the business. It talks about one
Yeah.
element, the one you're missing that it's trying to
Exactly.
sell you, right? And
Exactly.
because of that,
I got this shiny object you could
yeah.
buy.
So like everything that they're talking to AI about is wrong. Like they're just
Yeah.
talking about the wrong shit. Like
Yeah.
they're not talking about like here's
Yeah.
this thing I'm trying to build
Yeah.
and I need your help. Right?
Because they're not clear.
Like
It's
here's
about
this thing
clarity.
I'm trying to
So,
do and like let's do
man,
this thing. And just thing, right? Like this one thing, just get right? Like and there's no like understanding of how it all comes together. But I think there's, there isn't one reason. I think I could come at this like 20 different ways. I think there's not one reason why people don't get results from AI. I think there's like a host of reasons.
yes. Yes.
Like whether they're too myopic, they don't have enough
Yes.
of an imagination of what this thing
Yes.
can really do for them. They
Yes.
don't know what
Talk
to
about it.
ask for. They don't know
There
how
you
their
go.
business works, and they don't
There
really
you
know
go.
what things drive their business. That's
There
another
you
thing.
go. There
Like
you
we have
go.
a ton of people get like all skilled up and agent automated, and the
Yep.
shit takes care of all their busy work, and then they sit there and they don't know what to do because like they've been
Go
spending their
ahead.
whole life on busy work and they don't know.
Talk about it.
So I I don't know if this is true. I don't know that it's true, so I don't want
What?
like
What?
I'm gonna
What? Which
say it, but
part?
I'm not committed to it because I don't know that it's true.
Okay,
I
go.
like in the writing process, this is true, but I'm going to make the analogy. In the writing
Okay.
process, wherever you hit a problem,
Yes.
right? You did the previous step wrong. Like because that's when it shows up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's time for research and your research is taking you all over the place, then you didn't outline correctly. Like
Yeah.
there's
I see that.
something, right? Like because your
I see
outline
that.
would have kept the research tight.
I can see that.
Because you messed up on the outline, now the research takes you all over the place, right?
I
Like,
can see that. Yes,
and
sir.
when it's time to synthesize, if the research is all over the place, now you have a real problem. So like, it's stackable, right?
I see
And
that. Yes.
so I don't know if this is the case. If your thinking's flawed, it's going to show up in AI.
Facts. Oh no, that is the
I don't know,
case.
like that might be the bottom line.
No,
Like, why don't you get
that
results in
that is
AI?
it.
Because your thinking's fucked up, and it gets shit
Exact
going.
dog. That's
Like
it.
because now you have this transparent like kind of thing of where thinking is going back and forth, and what's the result of it? If your thinking's flawed,
Okay.
then the output's flawed.
Input equals output, man. Whether it's the human being, whether it's the human body, or whether it's the prompt engineer. That's what we're talking about. The people who are the best at AI are the individuals who are the best at being able to guess what prompt other human beings who are excellent and world class at what they do. If you're talking about being an entrepreneur and having quantum leap and aligning yourself with the right strategic partners, they have to be the best in the world at who they are with what they do. You understand me? So when you're conversing with them, you still have to be able to go to this person. You're not the person that's going to construct the edifice, but you're going to go to the individuals who can. And you're going to go with a blueprint that will be able to, from their language and their dimension, be able to articulate, communicate, and convey your desires so that they can go and implement that which you can't implement. But you still have to be able to touch their soul with it. They got to be able to understand it in the language that they can communicate. If we're gonna minimize it a little bit, well, I could actually couldn't say we can minimize the power and the effect of what I'm talking about when communicating with a puppy dog, because AI ain't a puppy dog. But I'm gonna
No.
tell you like this though. Guess what we can do? We have to be able to learn puppy dog. We have to understand our ability to communicate, articulate, and convey so that the dog can understand what we talk about. Their pack creature. We got to know that we're dealing with a future beast. We have to know that this cute, cuddly animal is an animal. And it's not a human being. So we have to train it and interact with it accordingly. It's the same thing with this AI. But if you don't know with clarity what you want, not just have your mindset, that's what we call it mindset. You're not going to know what to say. You could be in the presence of a powerhouse. And then what? 110 is better than 10-8. That's what PBD was saying. And choose your enemies wisely, right? As it relates to building a team. I thought that was dope. So, but we got AI. They're all 10s. But now you say, now you're face to face with them. Now what you gonna say, Big Pimpin'? Now you got the woman in your face. Now what you gonna say to her? Huh? She ready for you. She ready to know what you gonna say. You got a mouthful of marbles now, and that's what happens. Yeah.
Mm.
So from what you're saying, this is how I resonate with it. So now when you're taking it there, and you say that, and you see when you're talking about the entrepreneurs and the challenges, all I saw right there, Rich, was all of the different angles that we have the ability to present this with and in, because that's where the pain points are. When you was like, man, it's not just one. Is this, is that, is this, is this, is that, is this, and that was all organic, man. Hey,
Yeah,
I couldn't get you
kind of
that.
like asking, why do people die? Right? Like, there's a million, like, this is an advanced system. There's a lot of ways to die, and there's a lot of ways to get AI wrong.
6 million ways to die. Choose one, right?
Yeah. So
Okay, so wait then.
But
so okay, wait. So which will be like the top 5? What's the top 5 then? What would you say?
lack of clarity is definitely like their own lack of. There's clarity on numerous levels, right? But we'll make it one. We'll make it one thing.
Okay,
But it's clarity in thinking, and it's clarity in communicating, right? And because you can be very clear what you want, but then can you articulate what you want in a way that the AI is going to get it? And like right now, it seems like the models are getting better and better, but they're also getting a little bit more literal. And because they're getting more literal, it's like try and describe how to put on pants to someone who's never put on pants before and never seen them. Like it's not easy, right? Like, and that's what you're doing. Like, and so you got to be, if you're going to give instructions on how to put on pants to someone who's never seen pants and you can't show them pants and you're just going to do it verbally, then you better be very clear on how to put on pants, because like you're going to have to like have it in your head and you're going to have to describe it. And if you don't have it in your head, then you're not going to describe it well. So the clarity of thinking, clarity of articulation, that's one.
Okay.
Business partner.
Why would you say that? Like, so Harry said, treating it like an employee as opposed to a business partner. So you're just barking out.
Because you're trying to focus on like specific tasks instead of like a business partner already knows how you think and what to actually move the needle of your business. It's like it's kind of integrated with like that imprint thing. It's like you can describe to your employee, here's how I want you to clean my email inbox. Get all the spam out, get all this out. But then if a business partner was looking at your email inbox, it would already know what matters to you. And it's like I want to wake up every day and only see the stuff that matters to me. So it's like outcome oriented, and the more it kind of takes that, the more it knows your creative process, it can actually be that creative sounding board instead of just doing like the minute tasks for you.
Yeah. So I would say what he said a little bit differently, but I agree 100%.
Yes. Well, speak on. We need all of these perspectives. This is what the value is.
When you give AI something to do, if you're giving it, it's like my girlfriend, right?
Okay.
Like I walk in and she's like, she hits me with a question, right? Like, what's the and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what is this even in relation to? Because I have no context, right? Like, and it's just like, she could have said like, the pool guy was just here and he had a question and like, but she doesn't say that. She's just like,
they're wired different, man.
The Wi-Fi extender ain't working and we need to fix. I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking? Like, what? Right? Like, and she talks to me like people talk to AI, right? Like, I need this thing done, right? Like, write me an email, right? Like, but like the thing that I showed you about the judgment age, right? Like, that's one slice. That's one page of a 32-page document of 3 30 to 40-page documents that sit in a folder that is about Substack and my desire to start being more present in Substack, right? Okay. And so present with what? Well, present on the judgment age. And what am I going to write about? And what is it going to be? And what do I want from it? And all these kinds of things, right? That what Harry's saying, like a business partner as opposed to an employee, because an employee, like, I wouldn't really put it that way, but I see what he's saying. Like an employee, you're like, write me a Substack post, right? Like mine is telling me what the next Substack post should be, how long it should be, like because it knows where I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to be a thought leader in AI around judgment, around all of these concepts. And so because of that, it's very clear, right? So that would be the next thing, not giving enough, not providing enough, not sharing enough, and asking for myopic small shit. And AI doesn't know where that relates to the whole thing, right?
Yes.
So that's the second, right? So lack of clarity and not giving enough of the story.